What's going on, folks? Welcome back to DLife HD. This is Victor, and today we are going to be discussing a sub-series of the Mario franchise that went from awesome to destroyed within a matter of years, and what Nintendo could do to potentially revive that series. So without any further delay, let's jump right into it. One of the first Mario games, or at least a game that had Mario on the front cover that I ever played, was Mario and Luigi Partners in Time. It was an RPG that took characters from the Mushroom Kingdom and mixed them all up. It had fantastic combat, a relatively deep story for a Mario game, and overall I loved it. I never ended up beating it because it was extremely difficult for a kid being maybe 5 or 6 years old, but it was really one of my first experiences playing with Mario, and I ended up watching my brother beat the game because he was older and much more skilled at video games at the time. And I remember that final boss ended up taking him hours to beat, I suppose because he was under leveled at the time, but that was something that was daunting, you know, finally beating this final boss that he was stuck on for so long, and then one day he finally knocked it out. And it was a really awesome memory and from my childhood of playing Mario and Luigi Partners in Time. And I knew there were other games in the Mario and Luigi series. There was Superstar Saga, which my best friend had on Game Boy Advance, and he also had the next game in the series after Partners in Time, which was Bowser's Inside Story. Now, I believe I ended up talking about how the team behind these games ended up filing for bankruptcy last year. I believe I did an entire video on that. I don't know, it's kind of hard for me to remember, but they did. And they basically no longer exist. It's really sad because these games were really good, but towards the end of Alpha Dream's time in business, they made some bad decisions that ended up just destroying their entire business as a whole. They were, I guess, what would we consider to be a second-party studio because they only made games for Nintendo consoles that used Nintendo characters. But they weren't necessarily a part of Nintendo General. I'm not 100% sure if Nintendo owned them. It's sort of a sticky situation there, but they filed for bankruptcy and now they basically don't exist. And the reason that this happened was because they went through with some remakes of their classic games that I just referred to, that being Superstar Saga and Bowser's Inside Story, skipping over Partners in Time because it was less popular. And they put them on the Nintendo 3DS as the Nintendo Switch was taking off, one of which coming out in 2019. 2019, when the Switch was starting to just explode worldwide. I mean, we had games like Fire Emblem and Dragon Quest and a bunch of other, you know, third-party games that were developed specifically for the Switch, like Astral Chain. We had Super Mario Maker, Link's Awakening, a year where the Nintendo Switch was just sort of exploding. And what do? They put all of their time and resources into making a remake of a beloved game for a dying console, that being the Nintendo 3DS. Now, this remake is not something to scoff at, and the reason I decided to make this video now is because my best friend actually recently started playing the remake, and it got me interested in the Mario and Luigi franchise again. Because like I said, I'm pretty sure I did a video on this last year, but now I'm actually playing Bowser's Inside Story. I'm playing the original game, not the remake, because I want to experience, you know, sort of, I guess, that nostalgia for those older games, because it uses basically the same exact assets as Partners in Time did. It's just a continuation of that storyline. So it's really fun to play, and the game is fantastic, honestly. Like, for a DS game, a DS era game, there is some depth to the combat, and I can play it now and fully enjoy it, even with its older graphics. I mean, a lot of 3D graphics on the Nintendo DS, they're just hard to go back to, but this game is sort of set in a 2D plane, a top-down and front to back like a platformer, most of the time, and so it just works really well to go back to. In fact, I don't even think the remake was necessarily necessary because they reworked the entire game. I mean, completely building the game up from the ground again. And if they had drag and dropped it onto Switch, I mean, even released it on the 3DS and the Switch, which they could have easily done, I guarantee it, Alpha Dream would not be in the dumps right now. They would have survived the hardship of releasing it only on the 3DS if they had just put it on the Switch. Because we've seen the Switch work wonders for dead franchises. I mean, take for example Pikmin 3. Pikmin 3 was the highest selling game in the franchise, but the Wii U was sort of a dump for sales, and Pikmin is sort of a B tier, if not C tier Nintendo game. It's not the one that they advertise with everything, that being the Marios and the Zeldas. Mario, it has Mario on the front, Mario and Luigi. If they had just put it on the Switch, like Pikmin being on the Switch, it would have blown up, because now Pikmin 3 Deluxe, which was a direct port to the Nintendo Switch, is the best-selling Pikmin game. The best-selling Pikmin game ever. Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem started to take off on the 3DS, but now they drag and drop. They create a game for the Nintendo Switch. Fire Emblem Three Houses. Guess what? They've got my interest. I never played a Fire Emblem game until the Switch, and Fire Emblem Three Houses is the best-selling Fire Emblem game. I mean, we're seeing a pattern here. The Nintendo Switch is just this massive success, and if you drag and drop your game, you don't even have to do much work to it. It will explode with popularity, especially if it has Mario on the front. Mario and Luigi are in the title. I mean, you're bound to have success. This remake of Bowser's Inside Story is really good, but it's stuck. It's stuck on the 3DS, a console that is not being manufactured anymore. A console that is dying. You can't really go to the store and guarantee that you'll see a 3DS in store. And selling an old game, which is remade, for $40 on a dying console, who's going out of their way to play it? Besides me, because I'm crazy. Who's doing that? Nobody. The mainstream audience has moved on to the Nintendo Switch, and that's what they're playing. And if they had just drag and dropped even the old game, I mean, they could put the first three games, Superstar Saga, Partners in Time, and Bowser's Inside Story, with little to no work done to them on the Nintendo Switch. I mean, just HD the graphics a little bit. You don't have to rework every asset of the game. And I'm telling you, it would sell wonders. It has Mario in the title. Just like Paper Mario. Now, Paper Mario was in a similar vein where the older games were sort of niche, and we got them on the 64 and the GameCube, and it was like this weird sub-series of the Mario franchise that was a turn-based RPG. It's literally in the same exact vein, whereas we got more Paper Mario games on home consoles, and then the Mario and Luigi franchise was for the handheld consoles. They were both RPGs in the similar vein, which would take Mario and put it in a different genre. And now, Paper Mario Origami King, do I have to say it again? I don't, because now Paper Mario Origami King, being on the Nintendo Switch, a successful console, is the highest selling Paper Mario game. And it's only been out for a year, less than a year. Because people like Mario. And they like playing Mario games. People like the Nintendo Switch because it is like the fastest selling console of all time. It's been the highest selling console for literally 2 years in a row now, every month. If you just drag and drop your game, it'll be successful. And Alpha Dream would still be in business right now if they had done so. They could easily be working on a new game right now. A new experience, not just a drag and drop, something that they could fuel that money that they've made from this high success on the Nintendo Switch into making new content. Because people like me want to play new content for them because they were really good at what they did. The Bowser's Inside Story remake is a really good game. It's a really good remake. It's even got like extra content that wasn't in the original game. But because it was on the wrong console, it didn't do well, which really stinks. Honestly, like so many people could have experienced this. They would still be in business. So here's my proposal. Everyone that worked at Alpha Dream should be rehired by Nintendo directly. I don't know, put them in another studio. Put them in the studio that did Paper Mario Origami King. You know, they need to have their jobs. They need to continue to be in the gaming universe because Clearly, they're good at what they do. Even the more recent new Mario and Luigi games were really good. I mean, Dream Team on the 3DS, that game was really successful because it came out when the 3DS was popular, and it had fantastic level design. I never played it myself, but I've watched videos on it. I have close friends that really liked it. So, Nintendo should rehire everybody at Alpha Dream. If not, put more money into that studio so they can come back, because they deserve to be in the gaming universe. Second, we need those first 3 Mario and Luigi games on the Nintendo Switch. Because remember what I said, they skipped over Partners in Time. But if they would drag and drop that remake they already did for Superstar Saga, which was also on 3DS and didn't do so well, drag and drop Bowser's Inside Story, which they've already remade on the Nintendo Switch, and then create a remake of Partners in Time, you could sell them separately for $60 and it would be successful. But if they put them all on one cart all at once, like the 3D All-Star Collection, I think this would be a runaway success. And more people would get to experience these awesome games that use the characters that they love. Mario and Luigi, Bowser, Peach, and all in all, it would be good for everybody. Because that allows Alpha Dream, these people that are really good at making games, to keep doing what they love. That allows the fans of the series to play the games again, and potentially get more games like it in the future. That allows people who have never played it, who love Mario, to get a chance to play it on a console that they love. And also, because Nintendo is a business, they will run away with some cash in the meantime. Alright, I think we're going to wrap this video up. It's been a rant type of video. I've enjoyed it, but let's just run over to the outro. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments down below what you thought of this video. We love talking to you guys. Remember to like and subscribe for more videos like these. Lastly, check out our Twitter account for gameplay of the latest releases. But most importantly of all, remember to always stay 1-up.